Hello! Today we finish assembly of the Windmill Tower. To start, we make the rubber band wheels, the energy store for the windmill. Take the wheel piece and insert one of the rubber bands into two adjacent slots and pull the band tight against the edge. Next, tie a second rubber band to the end of the first. Easy! Repeat 2 more times. Gather up the ends of the 3 strands and insert them into the lower slots of the arrow-shaped piece. Ta-da! Now make a second wheel piece. And here's Lakenath. For him, rubber bands are like chewing gum. Num 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 num. Ed guards the rubber bands. As a last resort, he hides them. Ed makes some progress, but Lakenath keeps interrupting. Finally, the second piece is done. Now, to put them in the tower. The wheels go on top of the 2 side gears at the base of the tower. But there's a problem. In a previous video, some pieces of the tower needed bits clipped off the top. Well, these pieces need the bottoms clipped as well. Since the pieces are inside the tower, he breaks out the X-Acto saw. He is able to saw a few of the pieces off. Others come loose from sawing and are then clipped. Ed re-glues the pieces that broke off. After clearing the space, Ed gets the first wheel in position. Push it down into some grooves and twist 60 degrees. Ed decides to attach the arrowhead at the top of the tower next. Insert it between the 2 nylon strands, then insert the strands into the upper slots of the arrowhead. The rubber band should be taut, but not stretched. Now insert the shims to lock the wheel in place. Although getting the shims over the slots is a challenge, they should go into the wheel easily. Repeat on the other side, insert gears, then shims, pull up, and insert. Rotate the cage to make sure the gears turn and the rubber bands twist. Next, build a standoff cylinder for the blades. This consists of 4 long pieces capped by 2 discs. A change of plans. Ed puts 2 pieces in each disc and then joins the 2 parts. Now to assemble the blades. There are 3 pieces that go together in a straightforward fashion. Add a ring to the front and twist it 45 degrees. Ed had some trouble with the twist and moved on to the next step. The ring on the other side needs some wax to make sure it will go all the way up the shaft. A little sanding might help too. At last, Ed rotates the first ring. Finally, for this phase, 4 shims go in the front of the assembly. Part of each shim sticks out, but you should be able to see when they are in as far as necessary. Now insert the blade into the top of the tower. First, take 2 arch pieces that make up the top of the tower and insert them into the top ring. Next, insert a face plate between the 2 arches. It should lock into the top ring solidly. Then insert a large disc behind the faceplate, as well as the standoff cylinder. Insert the shaft through each piece. Now, insert another large disc behind the standoff cylinder. Push the shaft further in. Next, add 3 spacer discs, 2 larger and 1 small. Finally, add 3 toothed discs and make sure they mesh with the gear directly below them. The windmill is now mechanically complete, but there is still work to do. First, cross pieces need to be added to each blade. There are 20 pieces per blade, all different. Insert each one along the blade and push it into a slot. Once 19 pieces are in, insert a long shim to lock in the cross pieces. With some wax, the shim should go in easily. The challenge is in keeping the cross pieces perpendicular. Finally, put the last cross piece on to cap the shim. Repeat for the other 3 blades. Wow, 80 pieces. So many. So many. Great job, Ed. The next step is to finish the crown of the tower. First, construct a weather vane. Insert 3 pieces into a ring. Then insert a ring on the other side and twist. The top of the weather vane consists of a gear inserted into an arrow. The weather vane is then inserted as a shim into one of the slots in the previous assembly. 2 smaller pieces are inserted into the 2 other slots. The weather vane assembly is inserted into a larger gear piece and locked in place with a small ring. This assembly is used to attach all of the arch pieces. First, attach it to the 2 arch pieces already in place. The steps for the 10 other arch pieces are as follows. Insert the arch and rotate it 90 degrees. Push it toward the center while lifting the front of the arch above the centerpiece. Push the tip of the arch into the centerpiece. Repeat until done. There's a final step to complete the blades of the windmill. Cut up 4 pieces of the thread provided with the kit. The instructions say 60 millimeters per piece, however Ed's kit didn't have enough thread to do this, so after the first piece, he cut them more or less in equal pieces. Wrap the center of the thread around the base of the blade, then pull the thread up the blades on the front face. At the top, loop each thread around the end of the crosspiece. Tie the thread behind the blade. Cut off any excess. And now from the front. With a cat. It's a bit more challenging. At least Lake and Ape is entertained. Here's how it looks with the figures and bags. So, does the windmill work? Let's find out. For a test, Ed turned the cage a few times. Then he unlocked the brake. Nothing. Not even a partial turn. The gears at the top wouldn't move. In retrospect, this was just too timid a test. Compared to the recommended 15 turns, 3 turns just wasn't enough. Ed disassembles the top to debug the problem. First, he unhooks the arrowheads from the nylon thread, which is a lot harder with the top and blades in place. Then he unhooks the top ring, which is a lot easier. After freeing the top piece, Ed proves that the planetary gear and gear to the propeller work properly. Actually, the testing might have smoothed out some rough spots. To test the chain gear, Ed had to reconnect the top backwards, so the rubber bands are connected but not the gears. This test also is successful. The cage actually whirls around rather quickly. So Ed disconnects and reconnects the top again the right way around. With confidence in the full gear train, Ed winds the rubber bands around 10 turns and lets it go. Ed messes up at the start, so the results are unclear. He's able to rotate the blades by turning the cage manually, although they don't turn smoothly. 15 turns are a bit better. The spinning cage does start the blades turning, but they still don't turn smoothly, and a lot of energy is left in the rubber bands when it stops. Probably the amount of friction in all the moving parts, and there are a lot, makes it difficult to efficiently translate the rubber band energy into smoothly spinning blades. Well, at least it makes a nice display. Ed may try to reduce the friction in the system at some point, but I think that's the end of the series for now. Thanks for watching. Next time, we'll do something simple.